Mr. Nicholson at 10, and you have a board meeting at 11.
Well, I'll start with this first.
Alan?
Hello, Marge. Well, what's the matter?
I just had a run-in with one of the boys in the mailroom, Merle Jenkins.
Oh, what's the trouble?
He is never on time. And ever since he's been here, little things have been missing.
What sort of things?
Stamps, for instance. Pens, small change.
Any proof?
No, nothing concrete.
Well, I don't like to fire anyone just on suspicion. Why don't we give him another week or so and see what happens? Huh?
Here's stamps.
What's he look like?
Oh, Alan, for heaven's sake, he's in and out of your office 4 times a day with the mail. Young, with blonde hair. Kind of a smudged-up carbon copy of you. As a matter of fact, he acts as though he thought he were you.
Well, I guess I hadn't noticed. Yes.
Mr. Purdy's on 3.
Right, thank you. Marge, we'll talk about this after
Yes,
lunch. I have
sure.
a very full morning.
Of course.
Hello, Bill. How are you?
Fine. How about lunch one day next week?
I'm sorry, Bill. I've given up your kind of lunches. I'm on a diet.
Who are you kidding?
No, I mean it. I've been eating in the drugstore in the building here for the past week.
May I share your table?
Would you mind telling me something? Why do you stare at me all the time?
I don't mind at all. I just like to look at you. I think you're the most attractive man I've ever seen.
Well, oddly enough, my wife feels the same way. So does my small daughter.
Of course they do, because it's true. Oh, you don't mean that... Well, they couldn't mind my just looking at you.
Well, perhaps they wouldn't.
Mr. Patterson,
Well, how do you know my name?
well, I asked one of the elevator operators. Mine's Lily Hanson.
How do you do, Miss Hanson? You work in the building, don't you?
Yes, I do. I like it very much. It's my first job.
Well, that must be exciting.
Oh, it is, and it's such a nice job. We only work from 9 to 5, and we have every Saturday off.
I wish I could say the same.
You have to work on Saturday?
Well, just this Saturday. Nice meeting you, Miss Hanson. Goodbye.
It's not goodbye. Alan.
And I'll wait to hear from you before making any decision. Cordially yours, etc.
You want this one to go airmail special, too?
Yes. Look, it's after 12. Why don't you type that stuff up and I'll go for lunch. It won't be long, and then you can go when I get back.
Well, I brought a sandwich with me. So many places are closed on Saturday.
Yes, well, I'll find someplace.
You don't have to rush. I have enough work to keep me busy for a couple of hours.
Oh, I have enough trouble staying on this diet without all that extra time.
Hello, I thought I'd come and keep you company for lunch.
You thought you...
Mr. Patterson, I just remembered. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right, Miss Redley.
I was just going to say that Pierre's is open on Saturday.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, Pierre sounds lovely. Such a wonderful lunch. I've never been in a restaurant like this before in my whole life.
Oh, haven't you?
It must be wonderful to be able to eat in places like this all the time.
Well, someday you'll be able to. Sometime you'll marry a nice young man.
Oh, no, I won't. Marry a young man, I mean. You can't depend on them.
Well, then, let's say you marry someone.
Yes, because I have a plan. I do everything by plan. I read an article once that said it's the only way to make things come out the way you want them to.
You're a very dedicated young lady, Lily. Where are you from? You're not a New Yorker, are you?
I'm from Elmira. Oh, it was awful. I saved for 2 years to get to New York.
Aren't you lonely without your family?
Yes, but it doesn't bother me because I know it's just for now until my plan works out.
Well, that must be quite a plan. I have to get back to the office. I've work to finish.
Oh, Alan, not yet. It's so nice just to sit here with you.
Alan.
Why, Bill, how are you?
Fine, but I thought you'd given up lunches like this.
Well, you know, Saturday. Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Purdy, Miss Hanson.
How do you do?
Pleased to meet you.
Would you care to join us, Bill?
Oh, no, thanks. I've had lunch.
Well, darling, can't Mr. Purdy at least sit and have a drink with us? I do so want to meet all of your friends.
Well, I've got to catch a train. So long, Alan. Nice to have met you, Miss Hanson.
Darling, please don't be angry with me.
Lily, this is not a scene from a movie or some love story magazine.
I can't stand it when you talk to me that way.
Good Lord, don't cry. My fault for bringing you here in the first place. Get up. I'll call a cab.
Alan, will I see you on Monday?
No, I'll be very busy on Monday. And every day.
Hi, handsome. You've got a visitor in your room. A woman.
What?
I saw the landlady let her in. She said she was your sister.
My sister?
Well, that's what she said.
Hello, Meryl. Surprised to see me?
What are you doing here?
I came to New York on business.
How'd you find out where I live?
I called your office. Naturally, I couldn't leave without seeing my own brother. Besides, everyone was so impressed with your letters about how successful you are. I was curious to see for myself.
Well, I haven't always lived here. This is just a temporary setback.
What a liar you are, Merle. And you always were. Better close the door. We don't want the neighbors in on our family discussion.
I suppose you're going to tell them now, all of them.
Now, why would I do anything like that?
Because you hate me. You always have.
You made that up because I disciplined you. Someone had to try, at least, to save you from being completely spoiled by Mother.
She didn't spoil me. She tried to help me make something of myself.
Make you what? Speech lessons, dramatic lessons, buying you more clothes than you knew what to do with. Anybody think you were a girl the way she treated you?
Is that why you always punished me when she wasn't around? You wanted them for yourself?
I had better things to do with myself even then. I failed pretty badly with you, but I did try.
You didn't fail. You succeeded in making me so afraid of so many things I shouldn't be afraid of. You said I'd never do anything, I'd never get anywhere. It took me years to get over you.
But now you have,
Yes, now I have.
You're vice president of your firm, aren't you? Or so you said in your letter.
I never said I was vice president.
Liar.
I said I was going to be vice president, and I am going to be.
You can't steal jobs the way you steal things, brother dear. You still do steal, don't you, Merle?
Shut up.
You're still afraid of me. A full-grown man and still afraid of his sister.
You get out.
With pleasure. You know, it's a pity that you look the way you do. Such a pretty boy. Will never become a man because it's all on the outside. What a waste.
Get out, Louise.
Any messages for the folks back home? No? Well then, I'll just fill them in on your activities. In the mail room. Bye.
What's the matter with you tonight?
Nothing. Except I love you very, very much.
The call came for you just before you got home. Miss Hanson.
Hanson.
You don't look very pleased.
No, it's all pretty silly, but I suppose I should tell you about it.
If you like.
Actually, there's very little to tell. She's a crazy kid, works down in our building.
She's not in your office.
No, but she eats at the same drugstore, and yesterday she sat down at my table, so I talked to her.
There must be more to it than that, or you wouldn't be so embarrassed.
Yes, well, there is a little more. Today she showed up. Drugstore was closed, so, well, I took her to Pierre's. Now, don't ask me why, because I don't know. It just seemed like the simplest thing to do at the time.
And now you're scared to death.
No, it's just a little annoying, that's all.
And a little bit flattering. However, I think you'd better make the situation quite clear to her on Monday before you get in over your head.
Yes, I suppose I have to.
Better hurry or we'll be late.
Right.
You think because somebody's young, they're not lonely.
Well, Lily, if you're lonely, I'm sorry, but there's nothing I can do about that. I'm a married man who loves his wife and family very much. Now, you're coming to the office and calling my home. It's very embarrassing. It's got to stop.
You mean we'll never see each other again?
Well, of course we'll see one another. Work in the same building. Bound to run into one another occasionally.
Oh, Alan, isn't there some way?
No. Now finish your lunch.
I only have one thing to say and then I'll leave. I love you. And I always will.
What is it, Melvin?
It's a telegram, Mr. Patterson.
Yes.
Miss Hanson is on one.
I don't want to talk to her. Get rid of her. Now come in here for a minute, will you?
Alan, I wish you'd stop that. It's very annoying.
Oh. I'm sorry. A little nervous tonight. We both are.
I'm not at all nervous.
Well, something's the matter. You have been trying to pick a quarrel with me all evening.
Alan, you did explain to your little friend, didn't you?
Yes. Did something happen today you haven't told me about?
Mommy?
Darling, what are you doing up?
I woke up and I got lonesome and I need someone.
Oh, cry of the world. Come on, darling. I'll take you back to bed and stay until you fall asleep.
You promise?
I promise. You say goodnight to your father.
Good night, Daddy.
Good night, sweetie.
Hi.
Good evening.
Did you take on an extra job waiting tables or something?
That's not funny.
Well, I just wanted to know what you're all dressed up like that for.
I'm all dressed up like this, as you put it, so I can go somewhere I can breathe. Somewhere I belong. Oh, excuse me.
Hello.
It's me, Lily. I'm calling from outside, but I'm going right home. You must come.
Wrong number.
Oh. Better answer it. You wouldn't want to keep Miss Hanson waiting.
Hello?
Alan, don't hang up on me. I must see you tonight. I don't live very far away. It's 539 East 59th Street. I'm calling from outside, but
I
I'm
have no
right home.
intention
You
of
must
seeing
come.
you tonight or any other night.
Miss Hanson? Miss Hanson? It is Miss Hanson, isn't it?
Who are you?
I'm Merle Jeffers. We work in the same building, remember?
Oh, yes, I guess I've seen you in the elevator. But how do you know my name?
Well, Alan, Mr. Patterson, that is, has mentioned you several times.
Alan? Are you a friend of Alan's?
Yes, we work for the same firm.
Oh, I've got to talk to you.
Oh, it'd be a pleasure. You've been crying. What's the matter?
That's what I'd like to talk to you about.
All right. Why don't I go and get a bottle of wine? No, champagne. You can't drink champagne and cry. Now, they just don't go together.
I don't want any.
Why don't I go and get it and bring it up to your apartment? My plans have fallen through for the evening. I've got plenty of time. You can tell me all your troubles.
You've been drinking already, haven't you?
Why, just a few martinis before dinner. Now, you run along and I'll get the champagne and I'll be right with you. We can talk about Alan.
It's 539, just down the block.
Fine, I won't be a minute.
Good evening, sir. Can I help you?
Yes, I'd like a bottle of champagne, please.
All right, sir. Imported or domestic?
Well, how do they run?
Well, the imported run you 8.5 up. The domestic, $4.
Oh. Well, come to think of it, it's foolish to get champagne. The girl I'm taking it to's got no palate at all.
Just run you $1.50.
Well, I wish you'd say something.
Still telephoning, so obviously you didn't make your position very clear today.
Judy, I have told you there's no such thing as making anything clear to this girl.
Yes, you told me. But one lunch, even two, doesn't give any woman a claim to a man if that's all there is to it.
Yes, well, I thought we'd get to that.
How could we not?
If I give you my solemn word that what I told you is the absolute truth, will you believe me?
Oh, Alan, I want to. You don't know how desperately I want to.
But you can't. Well, you did last night. So something has happened today to change your mind. Something besides those telephone calls.
Alan, I have been thinking about it all day. Asking myself what would happen if it were true. If you were having an affair with her. How much would I care?
Well, did you come up with any answers, or you're still trying to make up your mind?
The answer is I would care very much. I know now I couldn't bear it.
If you have been thinking about this all day, then something has happened. Now, what is it?
I think you're lying to me.
Mostly for music, the Willie Outram Show. Continuing with a new item, pretty and polite, you name it.
Here we are. Especially imported from France for your pleasure, madame. They didn't have any champagne iced, and you can't drink it warm, so I brought Burgundy instead.
It doesn't really matter. I didn't want any.
Oh, nonsense. A little glass of wine is going to cheer you
Willie Outram Show. Continuing with...
right up. Where are the glasses?
Over there in the kitchen.
Well, they're not wine glasses, but it doesn't matter. Where's the corkscrew?
You don't need one. With this kind, you just turn the top.
Oh. Here we are. Skull.
It's bitter.
Well, you're just not used to it, that's all. You're pretty. You're very pretty. Did you know that?
Not tonight. I look terrible.
No, you've just been crying, that's all. Now, look, why don't you tell me all about it? What's the problem? Did you and Alan have a little misunderstanding?
Yes, but that's all it was. If I could only talk to him, I know we could straighten it out.
Yeah, I'm sure you could. You're his girlfriend, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Dear Mrs. Patterson, I think there are some things about Alan and me you ought to know. Would you write me and let me know when I can come and see you? Sincerely yours, Miss Lily Hanson. You have to plan things the way I did. I even picked out the building where I wanted to work. I did that first, and then I got a job there. I wanted a building where a lot of old established firms had their offices. And then I just waited. I watched the men who worked there. And one day I saw Alan. And I knew right away he was the one I'd been looking for.
How'd you get to know him?
I just kept staring at him until he spoke to me. I knew he would. Just as I know he didn't mean it when he said he'll never see me anymore. Once he leaves his wife, he'll...
Oh, come on. He's not going to leave his wife.
I can't help it that she called. The number's in the book. Anybody who can read can look it up.
I thought you'd given it to her.
I don't know what to say to you.
What you have to say is not to me, it's to Miss Hanson. And I suggest that you say it as soon as possible and say it so that she finally knows you mean it.
And what would you have me say to her that I haven't already said?
That she is not to call here again under any circumstances. This is my house and I won't stand for it. You can find some other way to keep in contact with her.
Judy, I have had just about enough.
I quite agree with you. I don't find this discussion about your squalid little affair very interesting. As a matter of fact, I find it and you disgusting. Alan! Oh, Alan, no! Alan,
She's beautiful. And she's a lady, a real lady.
Just the same, he's going to leave her. I wrote her a letter and I'm going to see her to explain how much we love one another. And when she knows that, she'll let him go. And he'll come to see me. He won't have any other place to go.
You're dreaming. Let's don't talk about Alan anymore. He's not here. I am.
I'm in love with Alan.
Then you could be in love with me. I'm just as good looking as he is. I got twice as much brains, and one day I'm gonna have his job.
I'll bet.
Look at me, Lily. Who do I look like? Who do I remind you of? Don't you see how much I look like Alan Patterson?
Like Alan? Well, that's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Stop it.
You don't look like anybody.
Don't say that.
and you're drunk, and if you don't get out of here, I'm going to call the police!
You sit there and you listen to me.
It's very late. I have to get up at 7 in the morning.
It's not late, it's just a few minutes after 10, see?
I know, but I'm very tired. I think that...
Look at the watch! See those buttons there on the side? You push those and it turns into a stopwatch. I bet you never saw a watch like that before.
It's very nice. Alan's got one, too.
Well, this is not Alan's, it's mine. I've had it for a long time. My mother gave it to me when I was 21. So don't go saying it belongs to Alan Patterson.
I didn't. Why should I say a thing like that? Please go home now. I have to go to work in the morning.
Not if you don't want to. Alan's got plenty of money. You ought to get you a real nice apartment somewhere and give you money so you wouldn't have to work. That's what I'd do if I was him. If I was him, I'd have a wonderful apartment on the river. And a wife like her. A real lady. And I'd be where I belong. Where you going?
Don't touch me, please.
I'm not gonna hurt you.
If you come any closer, I'll scream. I swear I will.
You don't scream when Alan touches you. Why should you scream now? Don't! Nobody's gonna hurt you. Just like Louise. You're just like her. She was always hurting me, too. I ever thought you were pretty.
Who are you looking for? Most of them bells don't work.
Miss Hanson.
Oh, she's in all right. I heard her radio blasting like she was deaf or something. I guess you might as well just climb up and knock.
Yes, I guess I better. Thank you. Miss Hanson? It's me, Alan. Miss Hanson?
Encore for Oliger. It's our peak of the week. Runaway riff.
You're not so high and mighty now, are you? You and your big job, your apartment, your wife, that big gunboat of a car. Things have changed, haven't they? You don't look so grand now. Not any better than she does. Thanks for the raise.
Hello? No, you have the wrong number.
Miss Hanson? Miss Hanson, are you all right? Miss Hanson, are you all right? Oh.
Take it easy. I'm coming. Oh, another bottle?
I'd like a bottle of your best champagne, please.
That's $15.
That's quite all right.
Just as you say. That'll be $15.45, please.
Keep the change.
I told you I'm playing poker and I'm playing
Hello,
poker.
Marge. Thank God I got you at home. Listen, do you by any chance know where this Merle
You're dealing
Jenkins
me a
lives?
hand right now.
Well, where downtown? Yes, I was afraid you wouldn't know exactly.
lay
Well, if
off.
it's that far down, I'll have to get the car.
You know I wouldn't kid you.
Yes, there's trouble. Got to find him.
I just
I'll
got
have to
up
go to
from
the office to
table.
get his address. No, Marge. Listen, I can't explain now. Just stand by.
Well,
I may need you.
So long. I'll talk to you later.
Oh, excuse me.
Want to dance?
Sure. Why not? You know something? You're cute. My name's Sue.
Mine's Alan. Alan Patterson.
Merle!
Hey, you! You want to wake up the whole house? The guy's not there.
Have you seen him?
He went out a couple hours ago. He's all dressed up, ready for a big night.
Has he been back since?
I ain't heard anybody come in the last hour or so.
Yeah, well, I'll wait outside for him.
You can do anything you like so long as you do it quiet.
What happened? The girl was killed. She was murdered.
I saw the guy that killed her.
So did I. Went right by me. He was a tall guy with blonde hair wearing one of them tuxedos.
No, he wasn't wearing no tuxedo. He was tall, and he had blonde hair, and he had a little scar on his cheek like a bullet nicked him or something. But he was wearing a regular suit.
What's the matter? Are you all right? Oh, I'm fine, thank you. Did you know her? No. It's just such an awful thing, that's all.
I'd like to have a bottle of champagne, please.
Beer or nothing, buddy. That's all we sell.
If that's all you sell, not much I can do about it, is there?
Not a thing.
What kind of place is this? All they sell is beer.
What do you want, champagne?
As a matter of fact, yes, it's my favorite drink.
Lucky you.
Yes, I suppose I have been lucky. I've gone pretty far for somebody my age.
That's nice.
Listen, why don't we get out of here and go somewhere we can get something fit to drink?
It's against the rules. I work here. That is, I'm a hostess.
You're too beautiful to work in a place like this. You ought to have a lovely apartment uptown. Somebody to take care of you properly.
Who'd you have in mind? You?
Why not? I can afford it. I'm vice president of my firm now. The man who used to be. A man named Merle Jenkins got into some rather nasty trouble with the girl and he lost his job and I got it.
You know what I think? I think you're a big phony.
Don't say that.
Why not? You bought me 2 beers. No privileges go with them, Buster. I can spot a phony a mile away. Let alone sitting across the table from one.
You little tramp.
Bert! Bert!
Come on! Come on!
Hello?
Judy.
Alan, where are you? I've been worried sick.
No, I'm all right. There's nothing to worry about. I'll be home soon.
Alan, I know all about it. I went there.
Where?
To that girl's apartment. The police were there, and a man described you. They think you killed her. Forgive me.
Now, there's nothing to forgive, dear. I know who did it. Merle Jenkins. He's a mail clerk at our office. I'm waiting for him now.
Why can't you call the police?
Judy, you don't understand. I can't go into details now. Just take it easy. I'll call you back as soon as I can. See anyone drive away in a dark gray car that was parked here?
Yeah, a guy all dressed up. He looked a little like you, only a little shorter. He came out of there.
It's the dance hall? Thanks, Duke.
Alan,
Hello, darling. Don't do that, darling. It's just me. I've come home.
Sue, come over here a minute, will you?
What's the matter now?
That kook you were with tonight snatched the car. This guy's looking for him. Wants to know his name.
His name's Alan Patterson.
You have a phone? Yeah, there's one right over there on the wall. Thank you.
Don't be afraid, Judy. I'm not going to hurt you. I wouldn't hurt you for the world. I won't Won't you sit down and listen?
All right. I'm listening. What do you want?
What do I want? A man comes home, he expects... He has a right.
To what? A right to what? And why do you say you've come home?
Because this is my home. Don't go away.
I'm not going away. I just think that we should talk this over, and why don't you sit there and I'll make you a drink.
Yes, a drink. That's what I need.
What would you like? Scotch?
Anything you say, darling.
I need some ice. I'll be right back.
The noise. Who are you?
Don't you know me either? I'm your daddy.
You are not.
Letitia! Letitia!
Whoever that is, get rid of her. Move to the other room. Go ahead!
Judy, where is he?
He's got Letitia.
Where?
In the kitchen.
He's gone down in the service elevator. Call the police. I'll use the stairs.
Oh, Alan.
Hurry. Merle? The police are on the way. Let the child go. Merle, the only way out of here is the way you came in. Now, the police will have that blocked any minute. I won't stop you, Merle. Just leave the child and go. Merle. Are you all right? Are you all right, dear?
I told you to point that gun away from me. Now do it. Boy, your age shouldn't be allowed to have a gun anyhow.
I'm warning you for the last time. I'd just as soon bring you in dead as alive.
I'm gonna bring you into your parents, young man, and you may wish you were dead before I get through telling them about this. Now give me that gun.
Next time I won't miss, Black Bart. Now stay where you are.
Are you out of your mind? What kind of a game do you think you're playing anyway?
You just sit down for a spell while I figure out what I'm gonna do with you.
Now you wait a minute.
I said sit down! I gotta think real hard about what I'm gonna do with you, Black Bart. That river's not gonna stop me, Black Bart!
Sometimes children become so lost in a world of imagination, they're unable to find their way back. And then there is only danger before them, as sure as my name is Boris Karloff. We're concerned now with a boy whose imagination brings him to a crisis involving not only himself, but also his family. A crisis that begins, but does not end as child's play. That's the name of our story. Our principal players are Mr. Frank Overton, Miss Bethel Leslie, and Master Tommy Nolan. Let me assure you, my friends, this is a thriller.
Are you?
Heck, why didn't you answer me?
What are you doing?
I can't.
Lunch is on the table. I want you to come in the house.
I have to escape first.
I want you to come now.
I have to get away first.
Get away from who? What are you talking about?
Black Bart.
Who?
Black Bart, he's after me.
Will you get inside and eat your lunch, please?
Black Bart, the notorious highwayman, is after me, and I have to escape.
Well, I think you lost him, Hank. He's nowhere in sight. Now, will you come in and get it? Your grub's getting cold.
I am his mortal enemy, and he's after me on his horse.
What are you going to do about it?
If I can get across the gorge, I can escape. It's 1,000 feet down to the jagged rocks below.
Will you stop it? Hank, please stop it. Hank!
What's going on out here?
Hank! Hank! Hank!
What's the trouble?
He fell
Off the log?
into the gorge.
To the what?
Are you all right? You're not hurt, are you?
I fell 1,000 feet into the gorge, but I live to tell about it.
Oh, no.
I live to have my revenge on Black Bart.
Get up off the ground. Come on, chum. Get in there and eat.
If it's the last thing I do on this earth, I will have my revenge on the bandit. I swear it, by the blood of...
When you're told to do something, chum, you do it. You don't play games. Now get inside and wash up.
Your time is coming, Black Bart!
What's the joke?
Me? I'm the joke.
Well, you want to let me in on it?
Oh, I don't know. Sometimes that boy's imagination gets the better of me.
You said a bit, partner. I'll tell you how I fit the engine wars.
Pretty silly, isn't it?
Seems to me I got 2 young'uns on my hands this summer instead of just 1.
For a minute there, it wasn't the least bit funny. Not funny at all.
He can be vivid at times.
I really could believe there was a gorge under this log. And if he did fall into it, he would get killed. I'm sure he thought so.
That's even sillier.
No, it isn't. Remember when you used to do things like that?
I had better things to do with my time when I was 10.
11.
So he is.
I did those things when I was 11. They were real to me. I used to walk along a log like this and pretend it was the high wire in the circus or something with no net under it.
Very daring of you, I'd say.
I fell off the log. I had this minute of real terror. Till I touched the ground and I realized it had only been a foot away all the time. Funny.
Exciting.
When Hank fell there, I suddenly had this feeling he'd be hurt. Not in any way equal to the actual height, but in some way equal to the height of his imagination. You know what I mean?
Sure I do.
You grew up too fast. That's all that's wrong with you.
I think it's about time Hank started doing a bit of the same, don't you?
What do you want him to do, grow a beard?
Well, you can hardly talk to him unless you play like you're the sheriff or something.
What else has he got to do?
He can go fishing, hiking, something. Isn't that supposed to be what we brought him up here for?
It's no fun by himself.
What do you mean by himself? He's got good old Black Bart and the Bar B boys to go with him.
I think he'd rather have you along.
Yeah.
Black Bart and the gang are only substitutes.
Yeah, I guess maybe I ought to take him hunting one of these days.
Do it today, will you? This afternoon? I don't want to sweat out another chase over the Grand Canyon.
I can't do it today. Maybe tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
That is, if he promises to leave the gang back at the ranch. You know, it's really not too much fun with all those cowboys along.
You're not such a great lot of fun yourself, you know.
Let's eat, chum.
You know how to catch an alligator?
An alligator.
An alligator. You know what all you need to catch one is?
I'll bite. What all do you need to catch one is?
Well, you need a dull book and a telescope and a pair of tweezers and a matchbox.
Okay.
And you go out into the swamp where all the alligators are, and you find an old shack, and you go in and sit down and start reading the book.
Reading.
You start reading the book. And pretty soon, because it's such a dull book, you fall asleep. And then the alligator comes along, and because he's so curious, he starts reading the book, too.
Reading.
Yeah. And because it's such a dull book, pretty soon the alligator falls asleep, too.
Who wrote this book?
No. Now, because you both fall asleep from reading the same book.
Reading.
Reading.
Don't overdo it, chum.
Because you both fall asleep from reading the same book, and you fell asleep before the alligator. Chances are that you'll wake up before he does. So then you take your telescope, and you turn around the wrong way, and you look down at these sleep alligators till you get them real small, see? And then you take your tweezers, and you pick them up, and you put them in the matchbox. And that's how to catch an alligator.
How'd you like to go hunting this afternoon, Hank?
Gail.
Your father wants to take you hunting with him. How about it?
Yeah, I guess so. Sure.
I'd like to take you hunting, Hank.
Oh, that'd be great. The other day I saw these tracks out back there. Great big ones. Must have been a mountain lion at least, or maybe a bear even.
Hank, I said I'd like to take you hunting. But I can't this afternoon. Your mother's a little bit confused.
I guess she is.
Why can't you this afternoon?
I have a lot of work to do before I can start fooling around.
You like to work?
You don't work because you like to, particularly. It's a job. It's something you have to do.
But you'd like to take me hunting, wouldn't you? You said you would.
You can't always do just what you like to do, Hank.
I don't think you ever do anything you'd like to do. You only do things you have to do.
You ought to be grateful that I do the things I have to do. You wouldn't be up here in the first place.
What?
I didn't mean it like that, Hank. I'm sorry. What I meant was that if I didn't work, we wouldn't be able to afford this cabin for the summer. Look, as soon as I finish the article I'm working on right now, we'll go hunting. The minute I finish, that's a promise. Okay?
They weren't really such big tracks I saw anyway. I just made that up. What they were was really just squirrel tracks or something. Squirrels aren't much fun anyway.
You better finish your lunch, Hank.
Well, I gotta get started pretty soon if I'm gonna catch up with him.
With who?
Black Bart. He's got a pretty big head start on me. I have to track him down this afternoon.
All right, you may be excused.
I'm gonna have my revenge on him for chasing me into the gorge this morning.
Be careful, don't let him get the drop on you.
No, I won't.
Gail, you know I have to get these articles written while they're still fresh in my mind. Why must you put me on the spot like that in front of him?
He was on the spot, too. Didn't you notice that?
One, so you could get away from the city for a while. Two, so I could have the peace and quiet I need to finish this series with a magazine.
There's supposed to be a third reason.
We did not come up here to operate a summer camp for Hank. I realize he's bored with no other children to run with.
I'm talking about Hank now.
Would you mind telling me just what we are talking about?
Wasn't another reason for our coming up here supposed to be so that you and I could spend some time alone together? Alone, just the family, without the magazine?
Well, aren't we?
Exclusive. From all outward appearances, Mr. and Mrs. Hattering are alone together at last.
You don't have to be nasty about it.
I'm not being nasty. I mean, I don't want to be nasty. I'm just bored. I'm bored. Hank's bored. Everybody's bored but the intrepid journalist.
Oh, no. You don't want to be nasty at all.
I don't. I really don't.
I shrink from the thought of what it would be like if you really wanted to be nasty.
All right, I apologize. Let's please not argue about it.
That's a step in the right direction.
Let's argue about Hank for a change.
I told you before we came up here he'd be bored stiff after the first few days. You were the one who insisted he come along.
What's it gonna be, Black Bart? Dead or alive?
It would have been very simple just to send him back to that summer camp he was at last year.
Just ship him off like a crate of oranges or something.
Well, that's not fair, and you know it. He liked the place. He had a much better time out there than he's having here this year with the old folks at home. Be reasonable.
All right, I'll be reasonable. We can't send him back.
You mean won't?
I said can't. Cannot. That's what I mean.
Why can't we?
Because Mr. Kenyon told me he didn't want him
Mr.
back there.
Kenyon.
You heard me. Mr. Kenyon, the man who runs the place, he won't allow Hank to go back to camp. They don't want him there. Do not want him. He can't go back.
Well, this sure seems to be the first time I've heard about it.
Well, that doesn't make it any less real.
For what reason, may I make so bold to inquire, did you decide not to tell me about it?
I was afraid you'd be angry.
I am angry.
You were gone all last summer. Hank was already home when you got back from your assignment.
So?
So I didn't want you to get angry with him first thing coming home. He was looking forward to seeing you. I didn't want you to get mad and bawl him out first thing, that's all. I just decided to forget about it.
Oh, great. My son gets expelled from a summer camp and you decide just to forget about it.
That's what I decided.
Would you like to tell me why they won't let him go back? I mean, would it be presumptuous of me to ask for a reason? Or are you afraid I'd be offended?
Oh, it was silly. It was just a little silly kid stunt he pulled.
Well, what was it?
The other boy who told Mr. Kenyon about it, he was a little confused. The poor kid was scared half to death.
Scared of what? Hank?
Yes, Hank.
You're making it up.
They were playing this game. They were pretending they were William Tell or somebody, you know, with the apple on the head and all that.
Well, go on.
Well, Hank got this gun. One of Mr. Kenyon's rifles, he left it out somewhere by mistake. Well, Hank found it. And he made the other boy put the apple on his head. Poor kid was scared half to death. I mean, it was a real gun, a real loaded rifle.
And?
He really did it. He shot the apple off the other boy's head.
Hank did that?
Blew it to pieces right off his head with a real gun. Well, you can hardly blame Mr. Kenyon for not wanting him back after that. I mean, he's got the responsibility of all those other boys, and something like that with a real gun. Bart. He could have killed that boy.
confide in me?
No.
I mean, you can. You know I am a friend of the family.
Bart, please.
What happens to them is a matter of some small concern to me. One might say I'm almost a father to the boy.
Almost. Not quite.
What I'd like to know is what you expected to accomplish by not telling me what happened to Hank.
I already told you.
You were afraid I'd be angry?
Yes.
Angry at Hank?
Yes.
Oh, you just afraid I'd be angry at you?
I don't know what you mean.
Somewhere you seem to have got the idea that every time Hank gets into trouble, I'm going to blame you.
Don't you?
Gail, it isn't a matter of whose fault it was. Fixing the blame is not important.
I wish you believed that.
Evidently, you don't.
I'd like to.
You certainly have a peculiar way of demonstrating that desire.
What do you mean?
I mean that you seem to be trying to make me feel that it was my fault that Hank almost shot someone last year because I can't take him hunting this afternoon.
Perhaps I was.
The connection between the two is tenuous at best, don't you think?
Is it?
Well, that's not important. What is important is that Hank must be made to understand that he can't get away with a thing like that. A little discipline is required. Did you punish him?
No, I didn't punish him.
Why not?
Because you were coming home and I didn't want to spoil things.
So the two of you just pretended nothing had happened. I'm sure Hank must have learned a very valuable lesson from that.
Bart, he knew it was wrong. He was sorry, but he was scared.
Scared of what?
Scared of you. He was afraid of what you might do if you found out.
Naturally, you agreed with him. I mean, I'm confident that you assured him he had every reason to be afraid of his own father.
He begged me not to tell you.
So the two of you had this secret treaty for your mutual protection against the wrath of the dragon, the ogre, the monster, or whatever other flattering picture of me it is you conjure up in my absence?
You'd been gone for months. We hadn't been together in a long time. I just wanted everything to be happy and pleasant for the three of us.
Well, the two of you banding together against me for whatever reason strikes me as a very peculiar way of promoting family unity.
I'm sorry.
Well, anyway, when Hank gets back, you send him in to see me. I'll have a little talk with him.
Oh, Bart, do you have to go into it now? It's been so long.
Probably too long for anything I say to him to make any impression on him. After your little game of togetherness.
Couldn't we just let it be?
Yes, we could. But I don't think we should. You send him in to see me when he gets back.
Do you want some coffee?
I've got to get back to work.
It's almost ready.
I should be able to get some work done this afternoon. That is, if you have no more bombs to drop on me.
Bring it to your room when it's ready.
I don't ever want you to keep anything like that from me again. Do you understand?
All right.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Turn off that radio.
Wait a minute, kid! The car's too strong for you there!
Well, what do you want?
Bart,
What is it?
I'd like to talk to you.
I'm very busy.
It won't take long.
Look, if it's about Hank, let's wait till I've had a chance to talk to him about it.
Well, it's not about Hank. Not directly, anyway.
Well, what is it about?
Would you like a separation?
All right, Blackbird! Come on with your hands up! You haven't got a chance!
Would you?
I don't know.
But you think I would, is that it?
Well, we're very rarely together anyway, Bart. Even when we're in the same house, the way you avoid me, we might as well be separated.
I haven't been avoiding you. I've been working.
It's one way of avoiding me.
What do you want me to be, a streetcar conductor? Come home at 5 o'clock and put my feet up on the table?
That's another way of avoiding me.
If you want a separation, Gail.
It's not what I want. What does anybody want? I don't know what I want anymore.
I got you cornered, Blackbird! I'll give you 1 minute to make up your mind, Blackbird, then I'm coming in there after you.
Want?
Well, what's all the shooting about? You sure are making a lot of noise around here, son.
Stand right where you are, Blackbird.
What's that?
I don't think you can sneak around in back of me that easy. Put up your hands.
Look, son, never point a gun at people, not even in fun.
Stay where you are.
Point that gun away from me.
One more step, Blackbird, and you're a dead man.
I told you to point that gun away from me. Now do it. Boy your age shouldn't be allowed to have a gun anyhow.
I'm warning you for the last time. I'd just as soon bring you in dead as alive.
I'm gonna bring you into your parents, young man, and you may wish you were dead before I get through telling them about this. Now give me that gun.
Next time I won't miss, Blackbird. Now stay where you are.
Do I really treat you so badly?
Do you honestly know how you treat me?
I was under the impression that we live fairly well.
Of course we live well. Please don't try to bring everything down to the level of logistics. Somehow you always manage to put me in the position of seeming ungrateful to you. I'm not. I'm glad you're successful. I'm glad you make enough money to pay for the things we have, but that's not what I mean.
What do you mean?
Oh, Bart, come off it, will you? I want you to listen to me.
I am listening.
Oh, thanks. What do I get? 3 minutes? Sorry, your time's up?
All right, I won't listen if you're going to be nasty about it.
I'm sorry. I don't want to be nasty.
Are you out of your mind? What kind of a game do you think you're playing, anyway?
You just sit down for a spell while I figure out what I'm going to do with you.
Now, you wait a minute.
I said sit down!
Sometimes I don't think you even like me anymore, let alone love me.
I love you.
I know you did once.
I still do.
Oh, I'm sure you're fond of me in some general kind of way. Like you get attached to things that have been around a long time. If I left, you'd be vaguely aware that something was missing, but you wouldn't really know what it was.
Do you want to leave?
I want what you want, Bart. I guess I just want the chance to make your life a happy one, if that means anything to you.
It does. Very much.
Then tell me what you want me to be. I don't know. You don't seem to have much use for me the way I am. What do you expect from a wife? You want a housekeeper? A kind of governess for your son? A woman of convenience? Is that all you want from me? I'll be that for you. I'll be all those things for you. But you have to let me know they're important to you. You have to tell me they're important, Bart. You have to tell me they're necessary. I want to participate. I have to be needed.
You are. You're needed.
I gotta think real hard about what I'm gonna do with you, Black Bart.
I know you hate great displays of emotion, but every once in a while, Bart, something. A look, a word, a pat on the head occasionally. It doesn't take much to make me happy. It really doesn't. I don't know how long it's been since you touched me. But even that's all right. I can get along without that if I only knew that you wanted me in other ways.
I want you. I want you in many ways. But my energy seems to get burned up on so many other things. Maybe that's wrong. I can't help it. What I do seems to take practically every bit of energy I have. You know, someone once said that 8 hours of mental work is the equivalent of 72 hours of hard physical labor. I can believe that. I'm exhausted when I finish working. I don't have much left in me to bring to your problems. They irritate me. I grow intolerant of them. I know that's wrong, but there's not much I can do about it. That's my chemistry. I can't just suddenly become a bum because I want to conserve my energy. I have a great need for things to run smoothly at home. I expect them to run smoothly. Maybe that's too much to take for granted. I'm sorry. But when I'm working, I don't want to even feel that I have to talk to anyone. It's very important to me. It doesn't mean that I don't love my family. It just means that I'm tired. I can't keep on being confronted by a constant array of trivial domestic considerations. I expect you to take care of those, Gail. I need you to protect me from them.
Has it ever occurred to you that if you spent a little more time at home, you wouldn't be confronted by a constant array of trivial domestic considerations?
You hate my work, don't you? You really must hate my work.
How could I hate it? I don't know anything about it. You never talked to me about it.
That's not true.
Oh, sure. You let me read an article every once in a while. If I say I like it, you beam at me and make me feel terribly bright and clever. But if I say I don't like it, you never ask me why. You just scowl and mutter something about my not being very well informed. I guess I do hate your work. I'm jealous of it. At least you have some interest outside the house. I wish I had. Maybe things would be happier if there was something I could do, but I'm not very bright or talented or clever. I don't seem to be able to do anything very well. But the only thing left we have in common is Hank, and we can't even talk about him anymore without fighting with each other.
Just how long do you intend to keep on with this little game of yours?
Just about figure out what I'm gonna do with you.
What about Hank?
What about him?
Where would he live if we were separated?
Well, I suppose he'd live with me. I wouldn't want to fight about it, but I don't think he's very used to living with you.
Do you want a separation?
Please don't make me the one who has to want it. If we separate, let's try to do it by mutual agreement. It's the first thing we've done together in a long time.
But I'm the one who has to make the decision, is that it? So you can feel that I'm throwing you out. I have no intention of throwing you out.
I leave peacefully.
You can't solve all the problems of a lifetime in one conversation. Do we have to decide now? Here, today, this minute?
What do you want me to do? Just go on like this? Because there isn't any easy, happy solution? We have to decide sometime.
I know. Can you end 12 years of marriage with no more thought than that?
Oh, I've been thinking about it for 3 years.
You've been thinking about leaving me for 3 years?
Yes.
That kind of hurts. You can hurt me very much if you try.
Can I? I'd be glad if I could even do that. I didn't know I could reach you at all anymore. I can't make you happy. It's comforting to know I can at least hurt you. That's something anyway. We could just go on hurting each other for the rest of our lives.
I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to be hurt. I want time to think about it. I need time to think about it.
I don't want a separation, Bart. I really don't want one. I just want to participate in your life. I want to share things with you. I want to see things you see. Hear things you hear. I'd even like to make love to you occasionally.
I thought maybe I would take Hank hunting.
I'll call him. Hank! Hank, where are you? Doesn't seem to be around.
You seen the other rifle?
Isn't it in the rack?
No.
It was there. I remember seeing it just before lunch.
You don't suppose Hank took it?
I don't know. He's been told he can't take it out by himself.
There are shells missing.
You know, I did hear some shooting out there a while ago. I didn't think anything about it.
Where was he going? You remember at lunch? What was he going to do?
He was going after that bandit character of his.
Black Bart.
Bart, that's you.
I caught the name.
Listen, this is more than child's play. He's taking out his resentment towards you on this Black Bart person. In his mind, it's you. It's like he's out there hanging you in effigy.
That's ridiculous.
You know how his imagination works.
Come on, we gotta find him.
What is it, Bart? What'd you find? What are they, rifle shells?
.22 caliber.
Is that the kind we use?
Yeah. They haven't been here very long.
That last shot we heard sounded like it came from across the river. Bart, I'm scared. For some reason, that shot scares me.
Maybe we better ask that man over there. He might have seen him.
Bart, what are you gonna do when you find him?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, try not to be too angry with him. Please, Bart, don't be too rough on him.
I won't. I might even ask him if he wants me to help get rid of Black Bart for him. Hey there.
What is it?
You seen a boy around here?
Yeah?
A little boy, 11 years old?
He had a gun.
Yeah, that's the one. That your boy?
Yes.
Well, you ought to watch him, mister. He's been shooting around here. Liable to hurt somebody with that gun.
That's why we're looking for him.
Oh, fool kid, he went right over that waterfall. He could have been drowned.
Which way did he go after he got to the other side?
Upstream.
Well, how long ago was that?
Oh, about an hour ago.
Come on.
Thank you.
There's only one chance for you to save yourself, Black Bart.
Do you mind telling me what you're talking about?
I'm gonna give you one last chance to clear yourself.
Clear myself of what?
For your foul deeds, Black Bart.
Ridiculous.
You want to take that chance?
Why not? I can play games as well as anybody else, I suppose. What is it?
Put this on your head.
Put this on my head?
Yeah, put the apple on your head.
Well, if you don't mind, I'd just as soon eat it. I'm getting hungry.
You want your chance or not, Black Bart?
All right, so I put it on my head. What's it supposed to mean?
It's gonna prove whether you're innocent or not.
Of all my foul deeds?
Yeah, it's like William Tell.
William Tell?
They made him shoot the apple off his son's head.
You mean to say you want to shoot this apple off my head with that gun?
I haven't got a bow and arrow.
Well, thank God for that.
Put it on your head.
Are you serious?
I'm a very good shot.
I don't care how good a shot you are.
Put the apple on your head.
Look, what are you trying to prove?
I'm gonna prove whether you have faith or not.
What?
If you have faith, it'll prove you're innocent, and I'll let you go free without hurting you.
Haven't you got this William Tell business mixed up a little bit?
You've got to have faith in my being able to shoot the apple off.
Well, yes, but it was William Tell being put to the test, not his son with the apple on his head. It was the father who had to prove himself. That was his punishment.
That's right.
Well, haven't you got this a little backwards?
Black Bart's got to prove himself, just like William Tell.
Yes. Well, you should give me the gun and let me shoot the apple off your head. Isn't that right? Isn't that the way it should be done?
I don't know.
Come on, boy. You want to do this thing right. Now, you let me have the gun, and I'll give you the apple, and we'll just trade places.
Sit down.
Look, I'm just trying to explain that it's the father who shoots the apple off the son's head.
This time the tables are turned, Black Bart.
Oh, now, wait a minute.
Put the apple up. If you flinch or try to duck away or won't do it, that'll prove you don't have faith. And are therefore guilty of all your foul deeds. Then you'll get hurt yourself instead of the apple.
That does it.
Hank! That shot came from up there.
Well, wait for me.
Now put the apple on your head.
Hey!
What are you doing?
Listen, mister, whoever you are, please don't upset this kid. Just please don't make him nervous.
Will you tell me what's going on here?
I'm supposed to be somebody called Black Bart. He's got Black Bart all mixed up with this William Tell business some way.
I'm gonna shoot the apple off his head.
Do something. Anything. Only please do it gently. Just don't get this kid rattled. Just please don't get this kid rattled.
Hank. Put down that gun.
Hank, oh,
I'm gonna shoot the apple off of Black Bart's head to see if he has any faith.
Can't you talk him out of it?
If he's got faith, then he's innocent of his crimes, and I'll let him go free.
Hank.
He hasn't got faith.
Hank. He's got faith.
If he hasn't got faith, he'll get hurt for his crimes.
Hank. Bart, stop him. Do something to stop him.
Easy. Please just do it easy.
He's got faith. You've got to believe me.
It's too late for him to say so anymore. He's got to prove it now.
For God's sake, stop him.
Hank, I think you've made a mistake.
Be careful, Bart.
He isn't Black Bart.
Who is Black Bart, anyway?
I am. I'm Black Bart. Isn't that right, Hank?
You mustn't. You mustn't, Myra.
Myra, you mustn't. You mustn't.
You mustn't. You mustn't.
Doctor! Doctor!
It is difficult to violate the privacy of dreams. After all, there are no witnesses to our nighttime fantasies. But when a man's nightmares are an accurate reflection of the truth, and in trying to relieve his suffering, he commits that truth to paper, then he creates greater torments than those of his restless sleep, as sure as my name is Boris Karloff. We're concerned now with a woman who makes use of a nightmare to persecute the innocent as well as the guilty. A persecution that is much worse than murder. That's the name of our story. Our principal players are Miss Constance Ford, Mr. John Barragray, Miss Christine White, Miss Harriet McGibbon, and Mr. Dan Tobin. Let me assure you, my friends, this is a thriller.
Hi there, family lawyer. Where's Uncle Archer?
He passed on early this morning. I'm sorry, Connie, but these occasions are very sad.
How long will it take to settle the estate?
Not too long.
I'd appreciate it if you'd let me know when and where the will be read.
I'm afraid that won't be necessary. You see, Mr. Gedney died intestate. By that I mean he died without leaving a will.
I know what it means! It means you're a lousy family lawyer. First, my husband dies without a will, and now his uncle.
Archer Gedney was terrified of dying or anything that reminded him of it. Whether or not your husband died without leaving a will makes no difference. He had squandered a sizable inheritance from his grandmother.
And left me nothing. I expected Uncle Archer to leave his favorite nephew's widow something, at least. Who does get the money?
His sister, your mother-in-law, of course.
That figured. The rich get richer. Diary. I bet this is a lot of laughs. What do you suppose the old coot found to write about in this place?
Well, quite a lot, apparently.
What do you know? I can hardly wait to read it.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Walworth, but that belongs to Mrs. Walworth Sr. now.
Don't worry, I'll return it to her. Were you about to say something profound, Mr. Sinclair? Or just goodbye?
Will you please tell Mrs. Walworth that her brother died quietly. There was no pain.
I am sure she will be very relieved. Bye.
Are you finished poking and probing?
For now.
What's the verdict?
You're going to have to cut down on your social life, Mrs. Walworth. And I mean way down. And since I've got a spy in the house, I wouldn't try to put anything over on me.
Can't you confine that sort of thing to more private surroundings?
Oh, Mother.
I suppose I should be grateful to Ralph that he finds you attractive, Anne. Ralph, can't you help me get her to liven herself up a bit.
If you're trying to change the subject, you're not succeeding. If you feel another spasm coming on, a few drops of that'll set you right. But call me in any event.
Is he always this authoritative?
Nearly always.
Goodbye.
How is she? I mean, really?
Her cardiograph shows up very well for a woman her age. If your mother eases up on parties and running around, she should be all right. If she doesn't,
I don't think it is the parties or the late hours.
maybe she's worried about her only daughter becoming an old maid. That's because she doesn't see how pretty you really are. See you tonight?
Yes.
Dr. Mitchell, I presume. I'm Connie Walworth.
My sister-in-law.
Now, I know that Myra's in good hands. And Anne, too. Myra and I worry about our little orphan Annie. She always seems to go out of her way to avoid meeting attractive, eligible young men. Will it be all right if I go up for a moment?
Certainly.
Thank you.
She comes on strong, doesn't she? Gets under your skin, I'll bet.
Oh, a little. That's a lie, a whole lot.
Know how you can stop that? Take your mother's advice and make her green with envy.
Mother always said you've got to be attractive to men. That making the Connies of this world envious is the most important asset a woman can have.
And you don't believe it.
No, I don't. Why believe in something that's beyond you?
Darling, I love you just the way you are. But if it bothers you not being a swan, then do something about it. You can, you know.
You're still young, Connie, and you've got your looks. So get yourself a job or a man, either or both, because I'm finished taking care of you, quite finished.
That'll make an interesting item for the gossip columns. For rent, one shabby apartment over a hobby shop, recently vacated by the daughter-in-law of Myra Moneybags Walworth.
Don't you threaten me, Connie. If it hadn't been for you, my son would be alive today.
Your son had a talent for smashing up racing cars. I didn't tell him to take that flip at Le Mans. He didn't figure to walk away indefinitely.
You were his wife. You should have stopped him.
You were his mother a lot longer than I was his wife.
Why didn't Archer leave you enough to get you out of my hair?
Uncle Arch's literary talent didn't run to composing wills. He was too busy writing diaries.
Diaries? Archer kept diaries?
For 10 years, didn't you know? One for every year he spent in that place.
How much do you need?
Whatever you can spare. That's very generous of you. Just about pay my hairdresser.
Beggars can't be choosers.
I love you, too. Hi. I saw that you were hard at work, so I Thought I'd just scoot by.
Not trying to avoid me, are you, Connie?
I'm your tenant, landlord, not your chattel.
So I'm being put in my place again. Is it proper for a patient friend to congratulate a new heiress on her good fortune?
There was no will. Nothing.
But you were so sure.
It's the story of my life. Connie pays for what Connie gets.
I'm sorry. I know you were counting on at least something. As a matter of fact, so was I.
You worried about your rent, landlord?
Well, it's been quite a long time. I don't like to mention it, Connie.
Why don't you stop up later for a drink? Uncle Archer, you were a stupid, dull, dreary, old bore. June 5th, 1960. It happened again last night. The same dream. The house is quiet. Dead quiet. Except for the rasping sound of SM's breathing. M has the hypodermic needle in her hand.
What's this?
M takes SM's hand. My heart beats suffocatingly. I try to cry out, but there are no words in my throat. And then I hear myself. Wait, you mustn't, you mustn't. But there is no stopping M, just as there is no stopping the dream. But I try. Every night I try. I wonder, does M dream too? Well?
Oh, what? What is that? Where'd you get that?
It's a diary. Uncle Archer's diary.
So?
What do you make of it?
Some kind of a dream.
What kind of a dream?
Some sort of nightmare.
A nightmare. A book about a nightmare. Page after page, the same nightmare. About a murder.
Murder? Come on, Connie.
You want your rent, landlord? Well, you're gonna get it.
Look, honey, forget about the rent.
You'll get it with a bonus. Now scram.
We were gonna have a drink together.
I'm about to have a previous engagement.
Connie, don't get carried away with this thing. I beg you.
That's the difference between us, Ray. You beg, and I take.
Yes?
Mr. Sinclair, I'm sorry to bother you about such a trivial matter, but,
Well, what can I do for you, Connie?
well, my mother-in-law was so pleased with that diary of her brother's that I thought I'd just drop down to your office and get the rest of them for her.
But I've already personally turned them over to her this afternoon.
I see. Well, there's more than one way to skin a mink.
Here's September, October, and November, 1948, lady.
Thank you. That's very sweet of you.
Yeah, I'm a dust-coated jewel.
Ugh. Obituary. door, Dr. Milton Crowell.
Well, how do you do, Mrs. Walworth? My nurse said your business was urgent. How can I help you?
Well, you couldn't have been out of medical school.
I beg your pardon?
Oh, when Mrs. Sarah Gedney died 12 years ago, I understood you were the attending physician.
Well, that must have been my father.
Oh, I see. Well, then it's your father I want to see.
Well, he died last year, Mrs. Walworth.
I'm so sorry. But, perhaps you can help me after all. I assume that your father kept files of all his patients?
Yes, of course.
I wonder if I could look at Mrs. Gedney's file.
I'm sorry. Most people don't understand that a doctor's files are kept in the strictest confidence.
Even when the patient and the doctor are deceased?
Yes, that's right.
Well, thank you for seeing me, Doctor. It isn't essential that we find her.
I beg your pardon? Find who?
Mrs. Gedney's nurse. You see, my mother-in-law is quite ill, and we remembered how efficient this particular nurse was. And we'd like to find her.
Well, the nurse's registry can help you locate her.
Well, I know how stupid it sounds, but we can't even remember her last name.
Well, I think professional ethics can be stretched to accommodate a request like that.
Thank you, Doctor. Snyder?
Yes.
May I come in?
That's not fair. You're the third one this week. A person can't have a gentleman friend without the gossip spreading tales. Go ahead, take a look. You'll find a bottle in the kitchen and some fancy eats, none of which came out of my relief check. I don't care what my neighbors say. My gentleman friend likes me to have nice things.
And lots of them.
Well, it's only costume jewelry. The thought's the same. Do you mind making your report and leaving? I want to go back to bed.
I'm not a social worker, Miss Snyder. I've come for your professional help. I'm willing to pay for it.
No. Oh, that's out of the question. I haven't taken a nursing case since...
Since? Mrs. Gedney died 12 years ago. You better sit down, Miss Snyder.
Well, it's nothing. It's... I haven't been well. I don't know anything about Mrs. Gedney's death.
I didn't ask you anything about Mrs. Gedney's death.
Who are you?
A friend, if you'll confide in me.
There's nothing to confide.
All right. Let's talk in generalities. Suppose an 84-year-old lady had just been given an injection of insulin, and suppose a few minutes later she was given a second injection of insulin. Would it be fatal?
I'm no doctor.
You were a very competent nurse.
You'll have to excuse me.
Take your time.
got no right to go prying into my things. I'll thank you to leave.
When you tell me what I want to know.
Get out of here!
Something a gentleman friend once taught me.
I'll yell. I'll yell for the police.
And how will you explain a sable coat from relief checks to the Bureau of Internal Revenue?
What do you want?
The truth about Mrs. Gedney's death.
I don't know anything.
Myra and Archer paid you off, didn't they?
No. All right, I took their money. Why not? She was going to die anyway. And then when I got the money, I was afraid to spend it. I was afraid people would ask questions.
What happened the night Mrs. Gedney died?
I wasn't in the room, I swear it. They said I looked tired, that I should lie down for a while, and they'd take care of her. And when I came back, the poor old thing was dead.
From an overdose of insulin?
Yes.
Why didn't the doctor discover it?
He didn't suspect anything. She was very old. There was no need for an autopsy.
And you made sure he wouldn't suspect.
She was going to die anyway. And then I got the money and I was afraid to spend it. I was alone and afraid. I was alone and afraid.
What do you want?
I just thought I'd drop by to see how you were getting along. And to see if you found Uncle Archie's diaries as fascinating as I did.
As you did.
Didn't you notice this year's was missing?
What exactly fascinated you, Connie?
A dream Uncle Archer had.
A dream?
A dream about a murder.
Go on.
You sure you want to hear this? I wouldn't like to see you toss off one of your little attacks.
You couldn't care less about me. Go on.
You and Uncle Archer got rid of the nurse that night, didn't you?
Snyder never left the room.
It's not what she says.
She said... Where did you find her?
You look tired, Uncle Archer said. Why don't you take a nap, you said. We'll take care of the old lady.
No. Snyder never left the room.
She left the room, all right. She left the room long enough for you and Uncle Archer to commit murder.
That's not true. She was old and sick. She simply died. There wasn't even an autopsy.
You thought that one out, too, didn't you? An old lady, helpless, being kept alive by injections, the insulin and the hypodermic needle handy.
Oh.
Why not give her an extra dose? Put her out of her misery.
No.
Put her out of her misery and put her fortune into your hands.
Stop.
Into your hands and Archer's before she changed her will. Or changed her mind about dying for another 4 or 5 years.
No. Stop.
Archer held her down, clamped his hand over her mouth, while you, Myra, you jabbed in the needle. Better, sweetie?
How much?
$100,000.
You're mad.
For the diary and my silence. Oh, and I'll be perfectly reasonable. I'll give you exactly 24 hours to raise the cash. Until tomorrow, Myra. Oh, and, don't disappoint me, huh? I'll have to go to the police.
And And you look absolutely wonderful.
I can't go, Ralph.
What do you mean you can't go? What's happened?
Nothing. I just can't go, that's all.
Now, come on. Something must have happened or you wouldn't be so upset. Is anything wrong with your mother?
Please don't ask me.
And I have every right to ask you. All right, I'll go out and find out for myself.
No, I don't want you to, Ralph. Please, it's none of your concern.
I thought you were my concern, but I guess I was wrong. Well, your mother's still in my care. If she needs me, you know where you can find me.
My. New hairdo, new dress, new little orphan Annie.
Stay away from my mother.
Something doesn't quite make it, though.
Stay away from her.
I know. Flair. You haven't got the flair, sweetie.
If you don't stay away from her, Connie, I swear I'll kill you.
You're not the type. You're not the type to hold on to a man, either. Especially one as good-looking as that doctor of yours.
When she wakes up, give her 2 of those. And what was she muttering about, having only 24 hours? 24 hours for what?
I don't know.
All right, then I'm going to get her into a hospital.
Oh, no, not without her permission. She made me promise. But I will try to persuade her.
Do that. You've been most cooperative in all the little ways.
What do you mean?
You know what I mean. Whether I get her to the hospital or not, whether I keep her under sedation, nothing is going to help her except a release from the tension that's choking her to death. I've got to know what's causing it, Anne. Well, have it your way. Keep your secret. Carry it to your mother's grave.
Hi.
Hi.
There's nobody in here at our office.
I was just about to leave.
That's pretty good time. I've been shopping. You can take me to lunch. Like?
I like.
How do you like the fat cat?
I like. You have been shopping.
Why not? I'm about to come into a little, inheritance.
Oh?
How about that lunch, Doctor?
I have an appointment.
Cancel it.
You do come on strong.
Only when the mood and the man stir me.
You, tempt me, but no.
Scared Annie'll find out?
Give me 10 minutes. Make yourself at home.
know something, Miss Myra?
I just phoned the bank, Bessie. They're sending a man out with some papers that I must sign. Let me know the minute he gets here.
Yes, ma'am.
Mother, do you think you should see anyone?
I must, dear. This is something that can't be postponed. Something very important for all of us.
Is it something I could do?
No, thank you, dear. Only I can attend to this.
I see. Well, now it's time for your medicine.
Later, dear, after the man comes.
No, Ralph left strict orders. And now we're going to take a nap.
Oh?
Up. Comfy?
Thank you, dear. Diary, Connie. If you make scandal, I'll stop you.
Hush.
Kills me.
Shh. I won't let Connie hurt you. Leave everything to me. Go up and sit with Mother. She's sleeping. I'm going out for a while.
I'll look after her, Miss Ann. Now, don't you worry now.
Come on up.
I thought you said you had to see Mara at 6 o'clock.
It's time.
You're, not exactly the bashful type, are you?
My father was quite a philosopher. He used to say, Connie, never hide your light under a bushel.
And being a good little girl, you listened and you learned.
I've always been fascinated by doctors.
Well, as everybody knows, we're nature's noblemen.
I can wait.
Hand it over. Hand it over. Hand it over.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you all right? Can you walk?
Yes, yes.
Adrenaline.
Still ticking, Doctor?
Like a $2 clock.
You're lying.
Now, you just close your eyes and go right back to sleep, Myra.
I have to talk.
No arguments, young lady.
Please, Ralph. I have to talk. For Anne's sake and yours. I've got to talk.
All right.
Funny how things work out. The old lady was 84 and dying. But I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait for the money. Furs, jewels, other things I won't shock you with. I thought they'd keep my conscience quiet. And they did. For quite a few years. But then, gradually, finally, my conscience took over completely. And now, Connie's trying to kill me the way I killed my stepmother.
Myra, that's enough.
She's done it. But now she'll try to blackmail Anne with the diary.
Myra, that's enough. Be quiet.
But you mustn't let her get any more money. Ralph, promise me you won't let Connie get any more money.
All right, I promise.
No more money.
What happened, Bessie?
I tried to stop her, Doctor, but you know how proud she is. She wouldn't let that man see her in a sick bed.
What man?
From the bank. He had a package and wouldn't leave it with nobody but Miss Walworth herself. It was on the stairs going back to her room that she fainted. The package, it fell too. And all that money.
Money?
I never saw so much money, Doctor. It was downright unholy. I left it laying on the hall table.
Well, thanks, landlord. I was just about finished with this place anyway.
I'm writing off the rent you owe as a bad debt. Goodbye, sweetie.
Constance Walworth?
Yes.
Moving, Miss Walworth?
Why, no, I was just going on a vacation for a few days.
I'm afraid you'll have to postpone it.
Postpone it? Why?
I'll have to ask you to come along with us.
Are you arresting me? What for?
Let's just say there are a few questions we'd like to ask you.
About the fire? Well, I had nothing to do with it. I tried to help put it out. The curtains got caught on and... Is anybody hurt?
A woman died.
Who?
Your mother-in-law, Mrs. Myra Walworth. Heart attack. Less than an hour ago at the city hospital. Dr. Mitchell signed a complaint against you.
That miserable rat.
Let's go, lady. On the way downtown, you can tell us all about the fire.
Let go of me.
Aren't you running into filthy luck, Connie, dear?
I told you, sweetie. Connie always pays for what she gets.
I'd like to go to the hospital now. There's nothing more we can do here.
There's nothing we can do at the hospital either. Anne, your mother's dead. I'm taking care of you now.
Connie killed her. Connie and her filthy blackmail.
Yes, I know. But Anne, your mother wanted to die. She was happy to die. Connie's the only one who'll suffer now.
The way Mother did. And all for money.
My brother's dead.
Tessa, give me the gun.
An instrument of murder is hardly a proper toy for an 8-year-old, as sure as my name is Boris Karloff. And this instrument casts an evil shadow even beyond the death it has caused. And upon it is the mark of the hand. That's the name of our story, based on a novel by the celebrated Charlotte Armstrong. Our principal players are Miss Mona Freeman, Miss Jessie Royce Landis, Mr. Shepard Strudwick, Miss Rachel Ames, and Mr. Judson Pratt. Let me assure you, my friends, this is a thriller.
killed, Lieutenant? One of the Kilburns?
How'd the bullet enter? Straight up. Shattered some of the crystals. The other bullet, Doc? Through the back. Thanks. It's my pleasure. Come on, boys.
You ready for me now, Lieutenant?
I think so. Come on in. You must understand, of course, Mr. Kilburn, that our main concern is to shield the child.
She's my daughter, Lieutenant. What do you think my concern might be?
It's one of the Mowry brothers from the house next door. The young one, the good-looking one.
Has she ever been under psychiatric care?
No.
Is there anything different about her lately? Anything peculiar about her behavior?
Not that I've noticed.
You wouldn't hide anything from me.
Why should I? How could I? My mother's brought the family here every summer since I can remember. This is a small resort community, Lieutenant. People know us, everything about us.
You'd be surprised what people manage to keep hidden, Mr. Kilburn, even in the best of families. I'll see you in about an hour, boys. Thanks, Frank.
Oh, Mr. Kilburn.
Betty, this is Lieutenant Gordon. Miss LaFollette, Lieutenant. She divides her time between Tessa and my mother.
Hello.
How do you do? About Tessa, Mr. Kilburn. She's in shock.
She's under sedation, Betty. Just stay with her, please.
I'm frightened for her.
I know, we all are. Please, go up and stay with her and...
Betty! Betty, do you hear me? Betty!
Go up and see what she wants, but she's not to come downstairs. Do you understand?
Betty!
You come in, please.
I'm here, Mrs. Kilburn.
Oh, get me out of here. Do you hear me? I said get me out of here.
Your son told me you're to remain in your room.
I'm always up at the crack of dawn. Habit, I guess.
Do you usually entertain at 8 o'clock in the morning?
I'm not sure I care for your phrasing, Lieutenant Gordon.
Coffee was being served for 3, Miss Walsh.
Mr. Mallory and his brother are neighbors. They'd work their garden and, well, it became a ritual. We'd have breakfast together here every Sunday. It was the same as every Sunday. The servants are off, so I prepare breakfast. Well, it was a little different this morning. This morning when I opened the door, Charlie was alone. I asked him what had kept Paul, and he said something jokingly about Paul getting more topsoil on himself this morning than there was in the rose bed, and he was still washing up. We came into the living room, and Tessa walked in. She seemed in the best of spirits. I kissed her good morning, gave her a piece of cinnamon bun, and Charlie and I walked over there just chatting. The next thing I knew, she had the gun cabinet open and was playing with that gun. She'd done it before, and Douglas had been furious. She tried to turn away, and it went off somehow. It hit the chandelier, and he turned, and it went off again, and Charles... I screamed!
Sylvia, darling. It's all right now. Settle down. It's all right.
I'm sorry. I just lost control.
It's all right. If you don't mind, Lieutenant.
No, darling, I'm all right.
You say your daughter had played with the guns before?
I'd found they'd been handled one night, and no one else had been in the room except Tessa.
You accused her?
Well, yes, I did. She'd lied before about things that we both knew that she'd done. And I just couldn't understand how a normal little girl would...
You think she's normal?
What a horrible thing to say.
Is she? Do you think she's normal?
I can't answer that. I'm not a doctor.
Let's get back to the gun. She denied touching it?
That's right. But the thing that really upset me was... I'd found the key to the gun cabinet in her room, and she knew it. And in the face of all that,
She still lied about it.
She didn't lie about it. I told Douglas it was child's fantasy, storytelling.
Mr. Murray.
Yes?
The 2 shots and the rest of it. You heard all this, too?
I saw it, Lieutenant. I was almost at the door. It was locked, you remember?
Yes. Why was the door locked?
since Tessa trampled my prized flowers, I'd ordered it locked.
Did she admit to this?
No, but her footprints were clearly outlined in the flower bed.
Obviously, this child is not to be trusted.
That's not true. The child's had little guidance. Her grandmother is old and sick.
What about Miss Fowler?
Betty's just a college student. She's going back to school as soon as we leave for the city. There's been a long succession of nurses and governesses. Well, what can you expect of the child?
That's why Sylvia's been our house guest this summer. We plan to be married in a month or so, and then she'd devote all the time that's needed to Tessa and her problems.
Is she awake?
It's difficult to say.
I'd like to see her.
Corliss,
Alone.
don't frighten her, please.
Don't worry. I see you like parakeets. I like him, too. What's his name? Or should I say hers? I wish there was some way you'd talk to me, Tessa. I'd like to have you trust me. Wouldn't you like to tell me what happened?
Are you a psychiatrist?
No. No, I'm a policeman.
Oh,
You're not afraid of me, are you?
no.
That's good. Now, wouldn't you like to tell me what happened today?
I won't tell you anything. I want you to deliver a message to my family.
A message?
Yes.
What is it?
I'm never going to speak again.
Why, Tessa? Are you angry with them? Is that why you won't speak to them again?
You don't understand. I'm never going to speak to anyone.
Why, Tessa?
Because it's nothing but trouble for kids. Speaking's for grown-ups. It doesn't matter what they say. But for kids, no. No matter what, I'm never going to speak again.
Busy, Doc?
Just a couple of minutes. What do you see? All right, why don't you take a 5-minute rest? When you come back, maybe you'll see something. Amnesia. If you saw his wife...
Have you seen the Kilburn girl?
Yeah, little Tessa, yes.
Did she speak to you?
No, She has not spoken for 2 days, but that is not unusual. I have seen cases like this where they don't speak for a month, 2, maybe a month in a state hospital under observation.
Oh, Doc, I can't wait a month.
This is not a case where a child has lost the power of speech. She has just decided not to talk.
Well, isn't there some way we can make her talk?
You beat her, maybe, huh? This child has had a traumatic shock. Another shock would cause damage beyond repair.
But I need her testimony.
You want a wonder pill, yes? Methamine diazepoxide.
Would that work?
You take it. Make a lion lick its keeper's paw said in the paper.
Okay, Doc, I'll keep in touch.
Send in Mr. Amnesia, yes?
I want to make on all those people right now.
Douglas Kilburn, Charles Mowry, Paul Mowry, Sylvia Walsh. What about the old lady?
Be my guest. Try them all, but get the information as fast as you can.
Any special hunches where?
No, FBI, New York police, go the route.
Try this in Washington, D.C., New York, Chicago, Detroit.
If the rest of you would leave us, I'd like to speak to Mrs. Kilburn alone. Thank you.
I wondered how long it would be before you got around to suspecting me.
Suspecting you, Mrs. Kilburn? Don't you think it was an accident?
It was not. That child didn't shoot him. Tessa's never fired a gun in her life.
The mark of her hand was on the pistol.
She didn't do it. I'm old and spoiled and a nuisance because I'm ill, but I know the people in my little world, and I know that 8-year-old child. And I tell you, she did not do it.
May I?
Oh, help yourself. The whiskey's on the left.
Water, thanks.
Water?
Do you know why the child won't speak?
No.
You think she's mentally sound?
Yes. Disturbed, but mentally sound. And I won't have my granddaughter or any Kilburn committed.
Nobody suggested committing her.
Lieutenant, I love that child. What are you looking so stupid about?
Mrs. Kilburn, everyone suggests such great love for Tessa. But no one in this house ever came right out and said it. Except you. You know that? Everyone just took it for granted that Tessa fired that shot. Is there anything wrong with her, Mrs. Kilburn?
No, of course not.
She's been under psychiatric care before.
That's not true.
She asked me if I was a psychiatrist. Now, an 8-year-old doesn't know the meaning of the word, unless she's been in contact with one.
I don't know anything about it.
Then who does?
I suggest you ask my son.
I already have. He claims to have no knowledge of it.
Then you have your answer already.
Mrs. Kilburn, I suggest you consider telling me the whole truth. Because if you don't, I'll be forced to place Tessa in
I suggest you...
a state institution for observation.
You would...
I have no choice, Mrs. Kilburn. Your granddaughter killed a man. What have I got for clues? Fingerprints? Tessa's on the pistol. Miss Walsh and Mr. Mowry's all over the table. Tessa's are the only ones that tell us anything. That we already know.
Can't you trust me, Lieutenant?
The last time I trusted a pretty girl your age, well, that's a story I only tell when I'm in my cups.
Please, Lieutenant, this is serious.
Far more serious than you might imagine, Miss Follett. When Charles Mowry was shot, his brother couldn't have possibly got there fast enough to see it happen. Mrs. Kilbert, your son disclaims any knowledge of having sent Tessa to a psychiatrist.
I don't think Douglas would lie about a thing like that.
Would you?
See here, young man.
Tessa's been under the care of a Dr. Richards. You sent her to him. Mrs. Kilburn, we found Tessa's last governess. She told us that she took the child to the doctor's office periodically, on your instructions. Well?
Yes, it's true.
Why didn't you tell me?
A little girl is found with a gun in her hand and a dead man on the floor. It's an accident. Would you expect me to give you reason to suspect her of anything more?
I don't understand.
When Douglas's wife died, I think he died too. He functioned like a machine. He really didn't care. He paid absolutely no attention to Tessa. When she grew up, she would deliberately smash things. And then she'd tell Douglas what she'd done. Because of her truthfulness, he didn't punish her.
Well, you know what she was doing.
Yes, the doctor told me it was a perfectly normal reaction. The child was trying to get her father's attention. She couldn't do it by telling the truth, so she proceeded to lie about it. For that, Douglas did punish her.
And even punishment was better than being ignored.
Yes. But then she began to resent the punishment. I don't know. Perhaps she considered Sylvia a rival for her father's attention.
Did she resent being punished for something she didn't do? When she denied trampling the flowers. When she denied handling the pistols. Perhaps she was telling the truth and nobody believed her. Yes? Oh, put him on. Yes, Mr. Mowry.
I'd like to talk to you, Lieutenant. Please, let me talk to you. When? 8? Here? Good.
Lieutenant, do you think there's a chance for Tessa?
Yes. If she tells us what really happened. If not, you know what I have to do.
Oh, I thought you were alone, Lieutenant.
Excuse me, Mrs. Kilburn. Have you got something?
One of your customers has a nice little record. Forgery, fraud.
Thanks, Joe.
Anytime.
Give me the Kilburn house. Hello? Oh, Betty? Oh, this is Lieutenant Gordon. Is Mr. Kilburn there? Huh? Oh, he's downtown shopping, huh? Uh-huh. Okay, thanks. Mr. Kilburn. Got something I want to talk to you about. This is a report that just came in.
Did you get the prescription? What's the matter, Douglas?
I don't know how to begin.
Begin what, dear?
Did you know Charles Mowry before we met?
Is that what the detective told you?
I'm asking you, did you?
You don't have to get angry.
Did you know he served a term for forgery and another for fraud?
No, I didn't.
It was an accident, wasn't it, Sylvia? Why do you suppose a policeman starts to investigate an accident?
I don't know, Douglas.
Because of discrepancies. When you told Gordon what happened, you said the first shot hit the ceiling, but I remembered afterwards. It was the second shot that hit the chandelier.
I guess I was upset. I must have made a mistake.
Did you know Mowry before? Answer me.
All right. Yes, I did. I wanted to tell you, but I was afraid to.
Afraid of what?
Of Charles. You don't know what he was capable of. We were engaged once, but I broke it off. So he followed me here. Don't you see? I had to pretend that we just met.
Why?
Because I love you, Douglas. And I don't want to lose you. I don't know what I'd do if I lost you. I might as well be dead.
Look out! You almost got your wish.
Is Douglas still upstairs with Tessa?
No, he took a tray up to her, but she refused to eat, so he brought it down again. Excuse me.
I hope you forgive the drawn shades. It's because of that little girl. She's always looking into the room. She stands up there in her window and stares.
Oh, she's not there now. Well, what do you want to talk about, Mr. Murray?
No, across the garden.
Douglas, it's Tessa.
Sylvia, get hold of it.
Tessa, she tried to kill me.
Get hold of it.
Douglas, she tried to kill me. She did.
Take her downstairs.
think you better stay with her.
I don't understand. She tried to kill me.
I don't know, darling, but you mustn't let it upset you, sir.
What happened, Miss Walsh?
Well, she tried to kill me. I was taking some dessert to her room. When I walked in, she had that knife under her pillow and...
Where did she get it?
Douglas, you took her tray, didn't you?
Yes, but I took it back downstairs with me. I'm sure I did.
Well, maybe she stole it from her lunch tray and waited until I walked...
Miss Walsh, are you sure? Are you absolutely sure that this child threatened you with this knife?
Well, of course I'm sure. Don't you believe me? I'm sorry. Well, I can't say I blame you. After that ridiculous story I told when Charles was killed.
Are you saying you lied about what happened to Charles Mowry?
Yes.
Then Tessa didn't shoot him.
Yes. Tessa did shoot him. What I'm trying to say is that it wasn't an accident. She did it deliberately. As long as my story was accepted, I didn't mind, but, well, obviously it wasn't. I almost lost Douglas because of it. And I almost lost my own life. That child's insane.
What are you saying?
I'm sorry, Douglas. I can't pretend it was an accident. Tessa knew what she was doing. She shot Charles Mowry deliberately. She had the gun with her when she came into the room. It was fully loaded. Obviously, she'd hidden it just as she hid the knife. She said, "Mr. Mowry, I'm going to kill you." Charles thought she was playing a game. She fired. I leaped at her and grabbed her wrist. The gun went off again, hitting the chandelier. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't want to tell the truth for Tessa's sake.
And you, Mr. Mowry, you saw all this too?
No, he heard the shot just like everybody else and came running. I told him to just back me up no matter what story I told for Tessa's sake, and he agreed. Oh, Douglas, we were just trying to shield that child. It was a mistake.
Is this why you called me, Mr. Mowry?
Yes, sir. Yes, just what Sylvia told you. I was going to... just what Sylvia told you.
Stay here, all of you. Great. I really fixed it up great, didn't I?
Yes, I heard.
You know what this means, don't you? Up until now, I could have reported Mowry's death an accident. Now it's got to be murder.
Oh, an 8-year-old child murdered. Don't be ridiculous.
I have to report Miss Walsh's story. Who's to deny it? If that child deliberately shot that gun, she'll be institutionalized. We have just one chance to prevent that.
What's that?
Ask her father to come up here.
Sit down, Paul.
I don't want to sit down. What are you looking at, Miss Follett?
Nothing.
Paul, please sit down.
Look here, Miss Follett. For 1 week, I've had that child staring at me from her window. I will not have you staring at me, too. What do you find so fascinating about my hands, anyway?
Paul, for heaven's sakes, leave the girl alone. We're all under a strain.
They've been up there for a long time.
Don't you understand, Tessa, that even an accident is serious enough? But now we've been told that you deliberately shot Mr. Maury. And that's far more serious. Tessa, listen to me.
She's exhausted, Gordon. Why don't you let the...
I'll let the child do whatever she wants, after she tells me what happened. Tessa, was it an accident? Did you shoot him at all? Was the gun placed in your hand? Did you see Mr. Maury lying on the floor when you walked into the room? Tessa, answer me!
Stop badgering the child.
You're afraid of what she might tell me, Mr. Kilburn? Do you know what I'll have to do if you don't talk to me, Tessa? Do you know, Tessa? Was the gun placed in your hand? Did you see Mr. Maury lying on the floor when you walked into the room? Tessa, answer me!
That's enough, Gordon. Let her alone.
You keep out of
She's
this.
my daughter, and I said let her
Now
alone.
you listen to me, little girl. I didn't think your daughter meant that much to you, Mr. Kilburn.
Get out of here now.
I'll go, but I'll be back with a court order for that child's custody.
Did she speak, Lieutenant? Did Tessa speak?
No, she didn't.
What are you going to do?
What I should have done days ago.
You're not going to send that child to a state institution.
I have no choice. Good night.
And you know something, Tessa? I never hit anyone over a lady in my life before. I'd like to try to explain something to you. You don't even have to listen if you don't want to. Things just haven't been right for me since your mother died. I didn't mean to make you suffer, too. Try to understand this. It might help. I know I haven't paid very much attention to you, but then I haven't paid very much attention to anyone or anything. Tessa, the only reason I want you to speak to me now is because of my concern for you. After that, you don't ever have to speak to me again if you don't want to. But I want you to know that I don't believe you shot that man. I don't believe you attacked Miss Walsh. And about the flower bed. Footprints aren't such a proof of anything. They could have been planted there. Hey, that's funny. Footprints planted in the flower bed. Footprints can be planted just as well as fingerprints, my darling. Tessa. Tell me, Tessa, whatever it is, I'll believe you. Because I'm your father. And because I love you.
Good night. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Good night, Paul. Douglas, how is she?
Asleep. She's exhausted.
Did she talk?
No. All I had to do was to make contact with her. A simple act of trust between father and daughter. I couldn't do it.
And it's hopeless?
No, I didn't mean that. Just now, for the first time, she showed some emotion. She cried. In the morning, I'm sure she'll talk to me.
Where are you going?
To stop Lieutenant Gordon getting that court order any way I can.
Will you be long?
As long as it takes.
Betty, why were you staring so at Paul Maury? What did you see on the table?
I'm not sure, Mrs. Kilburn.
But you did see something.
Yes.
Why didn't you tell Lieutenant Gordon?
Because I couldn't connect it until now.
Connect what?
Lieutenant Gordon told me among the worthless bits of evidence he was trying to piece together, there were some fingerprints.
Whose fingerprints?
Paul Mowry's. There were 3 sets of Paul Mowry's fingerprints on the table.
What of it?
He was outside the door when I entered the room. I saw him break in and go straight to the body of his brother. He never touched a thing in that room.
Are you positive?
Yes. Don't you see, Mrs. Kilburn? That means that Sylvia's second story is also untrue. It means that Paul Mowry was in the room earlier that morning. He had to be. He was there before he broke in. Now, Lieutenant Gordon couldn't have known that. He naturally assumed that Paul Mowry touched the table after his brother was killed.
You want to see me? Now? All right, I'll be right over.
You frightened me.
I saw Miss Follett leave. Where did she go?
I don't know. She just ran out of here.
Sylvia, she knows something. I'm sure she knows something. The way she kept looking at me.
Oh, get a hold of yourself, Paul.
Who's in the house?
Tessa, the old lady upstairs. What was Lieutenant Gordon doing at your house when that child attacked me with a knife?
Why, he dropped in to question me.
No, you sent for him. Why, Paul?
Sylvia, I can't take any more of this. I will not burn for you.
But he's going to burn.
I was willing to go along with you and my brother when it came to fleecing Kilburn. A fast marriage, a quick divorce, and a big settlement to divide among the 3 of us. That much my conscience could live with. But murder? No.
Obviously, you haven't told this to Lieutenant Gordon.
No. We just come into my study when we heard you scream. Your luck held, Sylvia.
Your luck held too, Paul.
What do you mean? You put the gun in the child's hand. I didn't.
Yes, but you stood by to back me up.
I didn't kill Charles. I had no idea that he intended to divulge the entire scheme to Douglas.
I had to stop him from doing that, didn't I, Paul? He said he was doing it for love, Paul. For love of me. He didn't want me to marry Douglas. Not even for one day. Now, what do you think of that?
Sylvia, you've got to let me out of this.
No, Paul. And if you ever feel talkative again, just remember this. Yes, I pulled the trigger, but you're guilty, too. By law, you're just as guilty as I am. Now, get out of here. Don't you ever set foot in this house again unless you're invited.
But you called me on the phone.
What?
Didn't you?
No.
You did. You said...
Up.
The old lady. It must have been the old lady. I remember I had trouble hearing on the phone. And I said, Sylvia! You can't.
Keep out of this, Paul.
Sylvia, this is diabolical. Sylvia, this is cold-blooded murder.
That old lady knows about us. Thanks to your stupidity, she's trapped us. Well, this will be the same as with Charles. They'll find the old lady dead and the gun in the child's hands. And they'll put her away once and for all.
You're the one that should be put away, Sylvia.
Get out of here. And if you say anything to anybody, I'll tell them you killed your brother.
I'm here, Sylvia, waiting. What happens to me is of no importance. Don't do this to Tessa. She's so troubled, so helpless.
You should have thought of Tessa when you phoned Paul, Mrs. Kilburn. Now I have to do this.
Let go of me. Let me go. Oh, here, let me have her.
Daddy! Daddy!
You mean to say that you were in this house all the time?
Right here with Tessa. We used the outside stairway to get back in.
I'm furious. I thought I was on my own.
She all right?
She's a Kilburn. Of course she's all right. I understand you're responsible for this trickery. Do you realize I might have been killed?
Mother, nobody asked you to telephone Maori and impersonate Sylvia.
Well, that's no excuse for this policeman to lie about a court order.
Well, let's just say it was a cover story to compel a disagreeable old lady to help me smoke out a murderer. Well, Betty here was my accomplice. She told the crucial part of the story to you.
Betty, is that true?
Well, yes, ma'am.
Well, you're fired.
Fired?
Oh, no!
Oh, anyone who could fool an old crow like me is dangerous. You'll have to learn all my secrets. From now on, you'll take charge of Tessa exclusively. Now let's get out of here and leave my son alone with my granddaughter. I thought I just fired you. Lieutenant Gordon will see me to my room, won't you, Lieutenant?